Hello?
Hey, Pat.
Hey, how's it going?
Good about yourself.
Oh, pretty good. Just trying out this panel thing.
So you think anybody else is going to get on?
Hold on a second. All right, testing.
See, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm just testing, using my AirPod Pros for this.
That's what I'm using too.
Oh, last time are you on a
Yeah,
Mac?
they're working great. So
Yeah, mine work good. Hey, we got Teresa. Hello, Teresa.
What are you doing in here?
hello.
I've been watching Lady Di.
Yeah, me too. I had to take a break.
It was getting pretty stale.
So Matt, you're using the AirPod Pros, you said, right?
Yeah.
My only problem is when I'm talking, I can't hear myself. So I wish I could hear something in the actual earphones.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't like hearing myself talk, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's true. I don't like it either.
Hi, Taco Josh.
You gotta come up, Taco?
What are y'all discussing today?
I wasn't sure yet. I did have a question, but I completely forgot what it was. Oh, I was gonna ask Matt his opinion on what happened with Glenn and the whole car towing incident.
Oh, it's amazing. I was watching the show last night, just a few minutes ago, because I had to get up early for work today, so wasn't able to watch the full thing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, I was
really went
watching it.
off. I finally
Oh,
got to watch it this morning, and he really went off on those people. Pretty sad.
He's just a garbage human being. I just don't understand why he is the way that he is.
yeah. I still think that he set that whole thing up. I think he just turned off his car and decided he would pretend he was broken down so he could get an interaction. Because right when the cop there, from the second he got there, he was being a dickhead towards him. And I think he just planned it all out.
Yeah, I don't know if they took a look at the car at all enough to see if you
Yeah,
know.
someone did say that the officer tried to start up with the remote start of the keychain and it didn't work.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Who knows? I still wouldn't put it past him to even do something to the car just to set something up.
Well, I mean, see, it's not the first time somebody in the community has done it before. Again, you get CFW and all those kinds of people do all
Oh
kinds of
yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, what kind of sense does it make to? I mean, if you want to break down on the side of the road, that's one thing, but to break down in the middle of the street, I mean, how entitled do you have to be
Yeah, I
to
know.
just be able to park there for as long as you feel like it?
Was he parked like off on the side of the street or actually like right in the middle of the street?
Well, like it was my understanding that he was blocking traffic so that if he would have just rolled it off the street, he would have been in a lot better position to deal with the police officer.
Yeah. So I know that the Pat knows this, and I've told people before. I am a law enforcement officer in my state, and I would not feel comfortable being in the middle of the road, like because there's cars driving by, all that kind of stuff. We like to, if we can, approach passenger side on busy roads and stuff. So, you know,
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I
Well,
was watching the whole thing. I knew that Glenn Hamm was coming to him, but I'm thinking, well, did the officer really have the right to reach in and take his keys like that?
I mean, again, Oregon's laws are different than where I am. I mean, he was blocking the road, and so if he is obstructing the road and his vehicle cannot be moved from the road, I don't know what Glenn said was wrong with his vehicle, but if it cannot be moved, then we can tow the vehicle and we have to give the keys to the tow truck driver.
they're literally obligated to do it. They cannot just leave a car broke down in the middle of the road. I
Nope.
mean, what if somebody drives up and smashes into him and it kills a family or something crazy? I mean, you can't
Yeah,
just park in the middle of the street.
that's why I was wondering if he was like parked off by the curb or if he's actually right in the middle or what.
I mean, to be in
Sounds like he was blocking traffic though.
I mean, if I mean, in all honesty, if the guy was just trying to see, hey, does this motorist need help? And then Glenn's being a jerk, and he can articulate it enough to where he can say that the car is blocking the road. I could see why that he would probably tow it because Glenn was being a jerk. So I don't know. Maybe not the
Yeah.
most professional thing to do, but at the same time, as long as it's legal, he can articulate it that that why he had the car towed. So
I think he's obligated to have it towed. I mean, unless he can get it off the street, I think he's pretty well obligated to have it towed. Otherwise, the police department could face a lawsuit if somebody ran into it. You came up on this car and you just left it here in the middle of the street. What kind of sense would that make?
Yeah,
And
right.
sometimes even when they're parked off on the side of the street, there's codes and ordinances that regulate how far they have to be from the curb and etc. So I mean, you can't just leave a car in the street like that. You just can't.
you're absolutely right, Teresa. I mean, I would probably tow the car too if it was in the middle of the road here in Jordan, my jurisdiction that I work in. So, but also, like you said, there are city ordinances in places about like we have a city ordinance for parking violations on any city road. It has to be parked so many inches away from the curb and blah blah blah, exactly like you said. So
And how horrendous was it the way he was talking to that female officer? Just like there's no lower form of life than this guy. Calling her a cunt and everything. It's just
honestly, I know like Kate really hates Josh and and New England, but I just despise Glenn Serio. I think he's literally the worst out of all the frauditors. Just a terrible person.
yeah, I agree. You know who's
I,
getting right up there? It's Furry Potato though. Is getting up there pretty close.
Well,
I
that's
get
true.
him. I get him mixed up with Bucket Boy. Are they the same person?
No.
No.
But they kind of look the same or something, huh? They remind me of each other, I guess. Aren't they
Um,
both big and goofy?
Well, yeah,
yeah,
but
I guess I could see it. I guess maybe.
Bucket Boy is a little bit, well, first of all, Bucket Boy is from, I think, Rhode Island or something like that. And you can
Yeah.
hear it when he talks. And Bucket Boy's teeth are all kinds of fucked up. So,
Yeah, Bucket Boy seems like a kind of a good innocent, more of an innocent kind of guy. He's not really a nasty,
Yeah,
mean person.
I was
yeah,
gonna say that always struck me too. That I thought he was a little bit more just kind of goofy, not so mean natured.
yeah, I agree. He's not like Glenn's just an evil person. Oh, well, maybe not evil, but he's definitely just kind of a piece of shit. So,
And how great was it when the tow truck star finally took his car away and all the police laughed and told him to have a good life?
yep. I mean, again, not the most professional thing you can do, but
No.
as long as I mean, again, he didn't. I don't believe the officer violated any law. It's possible. I mean, again, could have a policy violation on the way he laughed at the citizen, but at the same time, they would look at the way Glenn was, treating this officer, and it's like they're. And honestly, Portland cops are just so done right now with all the bullshit. I don't blame them, honestly.
Yeah. Why was he in Portland anyways? Is he did he leave where he was in Seattle?
Yeah, I have no idea why he was there.
I saw in his video that he when he went to get his car supposedly, which I don't think he did, he told the tow truck place that he is never going to come back to the state of Portland again.
All the guy wanted was 150, right? They only charged him 150 for the tow.
Yeah, the title of the video said something about they tried to scam him out of more money or something like that. I didn't see any of that in the video though.
Well, how long did it take him to get his car? Because they charge, a standard towing fee and then, like an hourly rate as long as it's in the impound lot in some places.
I'm not so sure he did get his car.
Well,
It's
what I'm saying is if he did and he was claiming $150, like, they would have probably some rate. That's probably why it was so damn expensive.
150 is cheap though. Here, I used to work for a tow company, and that was back in 2007. And here it would cost you $220. You know, back in 2007, it cost you $225 to pull a car off the street and bring it to the impound if you wanted to come get it out.
Holy
The very
crap.
next day, $225. That's regulated.
That's a bit ridiculous.
It's by the hour. You know, it's $80 an hour, maybe an hour and a half minimum they give you. Like I said, it's state regulated here. So then you bring it into the impound. There's a $25 paperwork fee, and it's $24 or so a day now, I believe.
See, in Georgia, it's a bit different because we, in the jurisdictions that I have seen how towing works, it seems like every department is contracted out with one company or with, you know, or well, not maybe not the department, but the county or the city is contracted out with one tow agency or, you know, several depending on where they are, and that's how they do the towing.
They do it on rotation here. So if you get yourself lined up in the rotation of the law enforcement agencies in your area, you know, they give you a 30-minute response time, blah, blah, blah. Then you just rotated every other, you know, every time they have a wreck and you're on rotation, they call you. And those calls are regulated, you know. So like if he would have been out there, let's say, and his car would have broke down and he would have called a tow truck and said, hey, can you come move this car for me back to my house? We would have charged like $50 for that. But on a regulated tow, it was, you know, $80 an hour, I believe, an hour and a half minimum, plus all of those other fees I just told you about as soon as it rolls in the gate.
$50 is pretty cheap, though. Honestly, that's pretty damn cheap.
Well, that was back in 2008. Who knows? It's probably 100 now. I really don't know. But that would get you towed anywhere in town, you know, at the time, $50.
Now, Pat, does anything else come about with Mouse?
With what about Mouse?
Is there anything come about more about that situation or no?
What situation?
Well, just like Sancho, you know, they were and talking to him and confronting him about all that crap, and then and Liberty was trying to get him to talk and everything, and didn't know if they were able to.
I never heard anything after that. That was on FTP stream the other night, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I don't think it ever goes anywhere. I think people have been trying to talk to him for a long time, right, Teresa?
Yeah, I was going to say that little scenario has played out probably 5 times over the last 2 years that I've kind of been watching him. He's an interesting character. I followed him for quite a while.
He seems like every dopehead that I've ever come into contact with, almost.
He's a little bit more fancy than that, I would say. I mean, I don't know what kind of drugs he does. He looks all methed out half the time, but I don't know that he can afford meth. But he does smoke a lot of weed on camera.
Well, meth's pretty cheap in all things considered. I mean, weed's the least expensive, but meth is pretty damn cheap. That's why, and especially up here in rural Georgia, they love when you start getting up in the mountains and stuff. Meth is everywhere, and you don't see any other kind of drugs.
Oh. So we've both of you guys watch Mansell last night? I
watched a little of it.
Yeah.
I just started today watching it just because I had to go to bed early for work in the morning. So that's how I saw Glenn in all its glory.
Did they cover any of the furry potato video?
I said I didn't get very far, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not sure. I watched it while I was kind of falling asleep, so I don't really remember what even happened on it.
I mean, Furry's gone completely crazy. I'm so angry and just yelling at people and just complete insanity.
Yeah, not the most calm individual.
see if I can
No,
play
I'm
this
not.
here.
I'm not sure what her ultimate goal is. As far as whatever it is she's doing. I really would like to hear more about what the ultimate goal is behind all of that. Maybe in a more detailed response from her, because that's just really confusing. What's the point?
I mean, is Furry like considered an auditor, or does Furry just go and stir up crap wherever Furry goes?
Yeah, that's kind of my point. What?
I think it used to be more of an auditor, but not anymore.
All the other stuff aside, all that wearing the Palestinian flag and that crazy RoboCop outfit that she wears, even if she went over there in regular, normal, unassuming clothes, what's the point?
Can you guys hear this?
Let's see. No, I can't hear it.
I can't hear it.
There's no sound on that?
You got to share the audio.
I didn't even have an option for it.
It's under
I'm
the
on my
Chrome
Mac.
tab. It's under the Chrome tab. Whenever you go to share audio and it brings up the little selection screen at the top, there's a tab that says Chrome. Click on it, and at the bottom left, there's a little thing that says share audio.
Okay. I didn't see that tab. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, we got Diver now.
Good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening.
NJ, who were we fussing with last night? Was that on this panel? Was that on this channel? Or somebody? Oh, it's Kenny's. Who was that? I forgot. Oh, that was that new auditor or old auditor or auditor guy. Remember, NJ?
I'm not sure. I don't think I heard you properly.
Yeah, we were talking to that Poster 7 guy last night.
Rogue Nation?
No, no, he was, he's a little beyond Rogue Nation. I can't remember his name. Although I probably, I know I didn't subscribe, but I probably have his URL, his channel saved somewhere. But the other side of it is when these people get it in their heads that because they can be there, that they can do whatever they want, they're going to get themselves at the very least trespassed, at most incarcerated, because they just don't realize that the world out there may say it on paper and you're interpreting it how you want to interpret, but you're not the one that's going to make the final decision. And the few people that recently found out about that, I believe it was NC Tyrant Hunter or Jeff is here, kept claiming he couldn't be trespassed from a public space. Lo and behold, he was charged and convicted.
Can't be trespassed unless you commit a crime. You can't be trespassed unless you commit a crime. They're diehard believers of that.
Yeah, well, that may be in California, but it's not in the rest of the 49 states.
I was about to say, here in Georgia, all you have to do is you have to be asked by the owner of the business, or, if it's a government building, I guess, I don't know, whoever's the highest ranking or a manager or something like that, to leave. And then if you don't leave, you can be criminally trespassed, and that's all it takes.
Even if it's a public place, right?
Yep, even if it's a public place. Courthouse, post office, police department, any of those places. I guess the only place you may not be able to be criminally trespassed from is a sidewalk.
And maybe the park.
Well, that too. But, no, because maybe after hours, or something. I don't know.
Right.
Exactly,
Time, place, manner. But sidewalks and parks are normally, your traditional public forum. So you have your most rights there, sidewalks and parks. And what was the other one, NJ? I forgot. Streets? No, you said stay off the street.
It's streets. It's streets.
Sidewalk, parks, and streets.
Yeah, because there's not every street has a sidewalk.
Well, streets are iffy.
Where's your mask, Rob? Where's your mask, Rob?
Time, place, manner. Again, time, place, manner.
You getting sound now?
I know the laws.
Yes,
Oh,
there
yeah.
is
I'm
sound.
better than you, youngster. Hey, you need. Where's your mask, Rob? Rob, where's your mask? It's a city law. Why don't you sign them? It's an ordinance. Vehicles come. What, bitch?
You can't. You loitered right here on.
Good try with loitering. I own this property, bitch.
You?
I do. Go ahead and shake your head. No, I pay taxes, bitch. I own this property.
On the property?
Yeah. John Q. Citizen, you dumb cunt. I own this. That's why you can't arrest me. Or I wish you would.
John Q.
That's right.
Who goes up to a woman and just calls her a dumb cunt? Somebody you don't even know or anything. Just what's wrong with this guy?
It's someone who thinks they're invulnerable.
Yeah.
And the worst
Isn't there such a
is,
thing as fighting words in California?
yeah, but
Yeah.
you really got to go off the deep end there. They really give the defendant the benefit of many doubts with their statutes. The trick, yeah, I've even heard it said by someone who's a lawyer there that it's very difficult to trespass somebody from public property there. And the interesting thing about it is 9 times out of 10, it's not the act of trespassing that starts them down the road to incarceration. It's their behavior.
I would say it's a pretty fair evaluation, because if somebody's making a ruckus and the owner or whatever wants the person to leave, then they can be criminally trespassed. And again, this is Georgia, but California is a little bit different, as you said.
I pay taxes. And don't give me that shit. You pay taxes. You collect a welfare check. I did move when a vehicle left. I got it on video, you dumb fuck. I'm gonna get VIN numbers too. VIN numbers. I'm more interested in the VIN numbers. The police can block the plates. They can't block VIN numbers. That's how I get addresses. That police block doesn't work on VIN numbers. Just so you know. We got what? You dumb
Yeah,
cunt.
VIN number's a little harder to
It's
get.
private property, don't you know?
Yeah, isn't it on newer cars? Isn't that inside the door jam?
No, they're usually
There's still a
still
plate.
just below the windshield.
There's still a plate in the windshield, yeah.
This is private property. Did you know that, Sergeant? I didn't know that. Apparently, he told me it's private property. Oh, man. Look, everyone. This dumb cunt says I don't own the property. He says it's private property. And here's where we're at. What part of this looks like private property to you, everyone?
The fence.
Hey, go numbers. It's either a city or carpool lanes, because she knows she's never going to get a ticket for it because she's got a police. Whoever comes here, you just mind your own fucking business. And you, Tuffy, mind your own fucking business before I find your old lady and fuck her.
That's real nice.
Mm-hmm.
Your old lady or boyfriend. I go both ways. Don't worry about it. Don't ever bother another photographer, Rob.
I'd like to get
Don't
a
ever
legal
vote.
opinion whether that was fighting words or not.
I was going to suggest that fighting words. That sounds like
Yeah,
fighting
that's-
words to me.
That's pretty, if not exactly 5 words.
You're cutting out.
I said that's pretty close, if not exactly fighting words. Now, the only thing is, police officers, it's been ruled, and I'm sure you guys know this, the Supreme Court, are supposed to be held to a higher standard than the public. So you can cuss and insult and do anything pretty much you want to to a police officer without them, arresting you. Some police officers in the past, like I think where it came out of is somebody flipped off a police officer and they tried to cite him for disorderly conduct, and that didn't fly because they went all the way to the Supreme Court. So
Yeah, flipping off an officer is legal. It's just the question of if you do anything beyond that. If you incite the officer to fight you, or you go beyond insulting to where you're probably what was just said a moment ago about someone's wife. To me, and I'm not a lawyer, that's fighting words. That's inciting someone to come out and slug you.
I don't know.
Father, another photographer.
Have a good day.
I always have a good day.
Take care.
4. The other street.
Yeah, so that's I don't know what his deal is. He's just angry about something.
He's angry at the world because of the way he was born.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying.
I just don't. I mean, even if that's the case, there's still no excuse.
Oh, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just being factual. He's got several convictions, at least 2 that I'm aware of. And it's just his behavior, especially the latest one that I saw at that church.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, though, the whole thing, all of the rest of it, all that fighting words and everything else aside, what is the point? What is her point? I don't get it. You know what I mean? I guess maybe she needs to explain that to the tots and me.
I think it boils down to money. Just trying to get donations, ad revenue.
It's all about the clicks and views and bringing in the donations and baiting the officer to cross the line so that he can file suit.
Right. Are you aware that has he ever actually followed through with filing one of those suits?
Yeah, I was going to say the approach is not working for him. Or
Lately,
You know?
yes. Has from what I understand, he has won at least one. Or
Well,
got a
one-
settlement, I should say.
Yeah, to say settlement doesn't mean they won.
I didn't hear she got a settlement. What'd she settle?
It was a case from a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I heard it secondhand, and I don't really know the incident or the case, but the individual that mentioned it said, yeah, the police department settled because they didn't want to go through the expense of a trial.
Well,
It's
I
just-
only know of one case that she filed. That I've actually seen that was actually filed, and that has to do with the shooting and the synagogue. I haven't seen any other filings. I mean, they could be there, but I sure haven't seen them.
You know what? I heard about that in the news. I heard about a shooting. This was, I can't remember. I think it was within the last year or so. Shooting at a synagogue in California by a security guard, right? And was that the situation?
Yeah.
Semi-accidental discharge, perhaps, or what he claims was a warning shot. And I didn't know that that was legal in California.
I think it was an
Ooh.
accidental discharge, and I think a piece of sidewalk probably hit him in the leg.
You say, I don't know of in any state where firing a weapon at a person wouldn't be considered assault with a deadly weapon. So,
Yeah,
Well, there were no charges, I know that.
yeah. I think the story or the allegations were that the gun misfired, or that was his claim. The security guard's claim was that the gun misfired. Blah blah blah. I don't think they charged him. I think they maybe initially charged him, but dropped everything. Needless to
Yeah.
say, all of that aside, there was a lawsuit that was actually filed with regards to that case, and it included, she sued everybody, the school, the security company, you name it, they were all listed. And that's the only lawsuit that I've ever seen that she's actually followed through on. Now, maybe there's more out there, but I haven't seen them.
Do you think there's any chance of actually winning those lawsuits?
Well, that's something that might settle, I mean, just depends on how the synagogue feels about it and how their insurance company, I'm sure, feels about it, but likely probably just settle it.
Yeah, if it's cheaper to settle it than it is to litigate it, they're probably just going to settle it.
And it's going to be cheaper to settle it than it is to litigate it. So, like I said, it just depends on how the insurance company feels about the case and the synagogue, et cetera, and how much they're willing to spend on it. You know what I mean? They can spend a lot of money trying to fight her, or they can just give her the money and make her go away.
I mean, I don't know again why she thought that would be a good idea to go try to harass the synagogue. I don't know if Furry was wearing the same stuff, but I mean, think about this: the Jews are some of the most persecuted people on the planet, and you got somebody potentially dressed up like the way Furry is, coming in there being all angry and maybe probably saying insightful, hateful stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. To think that that to wonder that why the behavior might rise, that this could be a threatening person.
And from what I understand, she was wearing a pin or some sort of tiny little flag from Palestine.
Yeah. It was reported that when he got there, he was like checking out the little schoolgirls, which is pretty freaking creepy to think about. He claims he was there to look at the architecture, which is what they always say.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well,
Like
it was a school, so yeah.
But still, I mean, because I've seen Anselmo and some other people do things like where there are minors present, and then they think it's a good idea to go ahead and film minors just because, like, just not out of a decency or respect kind of thing, just because they can.
Yeah. I've got an incident here in New Jersey, actually several, from one individual. I even was able to obtain the police report, mainly because the individual decided to use a very public website that to get the open public records. And I dug and I dug and I actually found him. And the police report was rather scathing.
What did it say?
There were police present during the whole thing. And they actually saw what I did on her live stream. And yeah, she followed the kids. I'm sorry. And she's done it more than once.
Well, in Jen's defense, I don't think she realizes the sort of explosive nature of doing something like that. I can't say that for Furry. She understands that that's going to incite people, and it's going to freak people out whenever you're following children around with a camera. Jen doesn't. Jen doesn't understand that, but Furry does, and a lot of other people do. And again, all of the other stuff aside, what is the point? What point are you trying to make in doing that? I don't. I really wish that you'd tell us what the point is so that you wouldn't have to do it anymore. We could just know what it is and you could move on with your life. Come on.
Exactly. Have you guys seen the latest thing that Furry is doing now? He's teamed up with somebody that is getting dressed in an orange jumpsuit and acting like he's running from the police or something just to get people to call the police on him.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's not exactly a new tactic. The orange jumpsuit, perhaps, but no, Teresa, I have to disagree with you. She knows, she just doesn't care. And she said it multiple times, both in Discord and on her own live streams.
Who are you talking about again?
Regardless, there's really, I don't get the point. I don't get the point of following on,
Oh, I agree.
It's
I
insightful
totally agree.
and people understand that. And I don't get the point. What kind of footage are you going to get following children around? I just, what kind of story are you working on? What are you documenting? What is the point?
Yeah, and in the one instance, she ran away because she was afraid that the group's leader was going to, or the coach actually, because it was a soccer team, was going off and calling the police because she could tell that the person was holding a phone to their ear. She ran off over down by the beach, and there was another person that pulled up behind her that sat in the car, and she was afraid that that person was also calling the police on her. So yeah, she knew she did something wrong.
This
There's the orange jumpsuit guy.
Yeah, this is pretty retarded. But NJ's right. This is not a new tactic. I've seen them dressed up as, Arabs and stuff. They'll put on the whatever. Those,
I remember
Yeah,
Patrick
Bobby
doing
Hill.
that. Yeah.
right, Bobby Hill. I think what's his name? Bunny Boots did it before. There's been a few.
Oh no, that Bunny
So, the
Boots, that
sergeant
was, he was in Texas.
Just got a call.
Supposed to be cool, to stay cool temperature wise. That he had no intention of looking like an Arab. It was just something that he wore because he'd been wearing those
Yeah.
a long time before.
No, did you see what he was wearing? Come on now. I haven't seen him wear it since. I never saw him wear it before. That was purely a setup. I like Daniel, but that was purely a setup.
So Matt, you said you're relatively new on the force. So how long have you been on the job?
Since June. So I went to school for 4 years. I was a criminal justice major, and I also did I did a program where I did military training in college. So I was in Reserve Officers Training Corps, ROTC, and but I didn't go in the military because my back screwed up. So they won't take me. But I've got several friends that are now lieutenants in the United States Army. But I was able to do a program where I get my police academy training in college as well too. So.
And your back problem didn't prohibit you from the police department?
No, because the standards are a little bit different, and unfortunately, I think some of the standards that police officers are held to is they need to be higher. Like some of the physical fitness test that we did, or I did for my department, was a joke, and other people have said for other departments it's a joke. Now there are some departments, like for example, I'll give you a great example, the Georgia State Patrol. I mean, their physical fitness test is very similar to the Army. It's a little, the way the Army used to do the physical fitness test, but it's a little bit different now. So.
Have you been around to any other panels in the community yet?
I have not. This would be my first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you go to any of the
here.
auditor panels, you're going to get attacked pretty good.
How long have you been watching, Matt? And do you mind my asking what do you have a video in particular that got you interested in all of this?
Well, like I was explaining, Glenn was the person that really got me hooked on all this stuff because, this was probably around either just shortly after I got hired or but all the stuff was going on in the media with the George Floyd killing and, everything. And police officers were being treated horribly. And this video popped up in my recommended, and it was Glenn, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is this guy, like, how, it was just, I can't remember which one it was, but I mean, it was awful. And then I watched a couple more of his videos, and I was like, so is there anybody fighting back against these people? Like, because there are people that I knew that would make videos making fun of sovereign citizens, but I didn't know about the auditors. And then I finally found my way to the Masshole report. And ever since then, I've been a huge fan. Love watching the videos. So.
Yeah, can you see the private chat, Math Man?
I can.
Yeah, check out that document. It's written by a lieutenant from Southern California as a thesis for his master's degree. It is very enlightening.
Huh. Golly,
Yeah,
that's
it's from
pretty
your
recent
profession.
too.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's pretty recent too.
Yeah, December last year. And it includes several of the people we're talking about.
Hmm.
He reviewed, I think it was 59 videos.
I'll definitely give that a read. I mean, because I've asked, we haven't had anybody really that's come to our department specifically to do this, but our next door department, our sister department, they had somebody I think come in and stir some kind of trouble up like that. So, I mean, that I kind of want to be prepared to know what to do and everything. I think I would know what to do, but you know,
Well, one of the
Ignore
things I,
them. Ignore them. Just ignore them, and they won't have any footage. That's the best thing that you can do.
Yeah.
yeah, ignoring them is, depending on the individual, will either make them go away or make them step over the line.
I mean, like I said, I'm not really afraid of these people per se because they're all. I mean, furry's probably the most out of all of them I've seen that seems like they have some kind of violent tendencies. But as far as I know, they're not really. They're all bark, no bite, from what I've seen.
Well, their tactics are to, trigger you, to trigger the cop, to, get the cop to do something, and their reasoning will be that, you don't have to take the bait, you don't have to bite on the bait. So that's the best thing to do is just not bite on the bait. You know that there's people out there that are baiting you, that are going to bait you into some sort of crazy something, and that's what always seems to happen when police officers kind of take the bait and go along with it. Best thing to do is just not take the bait.
Does your department have a policy that you have to state your name and ID number if citizen asks?
Yes, as I remember reading, we had to. I mean, so when you get hired, you read through a whole lot of policy. So I remember, I think reading that you do have to give your name and badge number upon request. So
So even if you're busy and some crazy scene and you got some idiot with a camera off to the side screaming for your name and badge number, you got to stop what you're doing and give it to him.
well, not obviously, I would think that there would be some, like for example, if somebody complained on me and they reviewed the video, they can see that I'm clearly dealing with something, you know.
Right.
Like that would be one thing versus if somebody came up and was asking for it and in just a regular circumstance, you know, that would be
I
two
was going to
separate
say,
things.
I would just, especially like on a cop watch, if, you're just on a traffic stop and there's someone there filming and they're trying to get your attention and they're trying to trigger you because, obviously they have the right to speak freely while they're there, as long as there's reasonable distance, but a lot of cops can take that bait and they'll go over there and be upset about it. And boy, they get the video that they want out of it. So like I said, the best thing to do is not to take the bait. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Look at that crew.
Oh gosh.
Mike Taylor.
Mike
Yeah,
Taylor's a character.
yeah, that's an echo chamber
Oh,
if I ever
yeah.
saw one.
Brian had his pacemaker put in today. It looks like he's in the hospital.
Yep.
Golly. And he's still do want to be on a panel? Jeez.
I know.
He couldn't wait to get on a panel.
Well, the pacemaker's probably making him feel better.
Aren't you supposed to keep your stress level down when you have a pacemaker put in?
No, that's not what it's for. The pacemaker is there to regulate your heart rate. It's not there to tell you to calm down. It's there that will calm you down. And basically, it's also if you have a bad arrhythmia, it'll help regulate the beat of the heart. And then again, it also some of them have built-in defibrillators. My father-in-law has one, and it saved his life at least once. They want to put one in me, but I keep refusing.
Why is that?
I have what's called a left branch bundle blockage. One of the nerves in my left ventricle isn't firing. I also have what's called dilated cardiomyopathy, better known as congestive heart failure.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry to hear that.
I've been
Yeah.
living with it since about 98, probably before that. I got diagnosed in 98. Hell, I worked until 2014.
God bless.
All right,
I
y'all, I'm
just,
going to jump off. I got a few things to do. Sorry to interrupt you, NJ. It was really nice talking to everybody. Matt, nice
Yeah.
talking to you too.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Teresa.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you, Teresa.
well,
Y'all have a great
yeah,
afternoon.
yeah, it's always good talking. Oh, there she goes. She's good people.
Yeah, she's great.
I can tell.
If you get on her bad side, you better watch out.
She was really hammering Mouse the other day in the comments from what I remember from the video.
Yeah, you don't want to get hammered by her verbally.
No, definitely not. I've seen her going after Josh really hard. I've seen her go after CFW. A few different. Have you watched any CFW, Nat?
Just on the show. So
Yeah, she's hopefully turning around, but you never really can tell.
she seems a little bit more innocent than some of the other people.
Yeah.
No.
Well, what I mean by innocent, I shouldn't say she's because again the whole thing about her setting up that I don't even know what to call it, but that thing with I think it was a homeless guy or whatever. But she seems a little bit, I don't know.
Oh, that's set up, yeah.
She seems she's not like Glenn or like Josh, per se, or
Well,
Furry.
she did run afoul by playing with someone's uh someone's the term went right out of my head. Their desk. She was sitting at someone's desk and got on the internet and unfortunately went to the wrong location on the internet, and they were able to trace that she had done it, and she was filming it while she was doing it. So yeah, it's
Doesn't sound
that's
very smart.
no, that's one of the things that one of the members of the bar, let's put it that way, who is involved himself in this group, this genre or community or whatever you want to call it. One of the things he says, yeah, you're giving the judicial system evidence to convict you, basically, to paraphrase him slightly. Yeah, you'll find all different sorts that are in this group. I've been watching it for, gotta be 3-4 years now. And I've seen it evolve from a small group of activists to a group of auditards, frauditors, and assivists. Those are some of them are the assivists is my invention. The other three are been picked up over the years. But yeah, it's rampant now, unfortunately. And there's a lot of criminals in here too, of all
Yeah,
types,
that's what I've
from
noticed.
misdemeanors to full-blown felonies. Have you ever heard of fanclub.com?
Yeah. I think you or maybe it was Pat too that sent me the link where you can pull up all the information on different people because that's where I
Yeah,
was
some of
looking
the
at stuff about
nastier ones. Yep.
Mouse.
Yeah, he's prominent in there, but the document section is my work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been negligent there. I've been concentrating on Discord. Are you on Discord?
I am on Discord.
Have you ever been to Civil Rights Unites,
I have not.
better known as CRUD? Civil Rights Unites Discord.
I have not.
All right.
I'll see if I can send you an invite. I'm not sure if I can or not. I might not be able to.
Yeah, no problem. I know I can. Just give me a few minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I can.
I gotta find him. That's the problem.
Well, I'm on the server right now. It should have my name listed somewhere on the side and the 40 people that are online.
Yeah, which server? I've got about 40.
The Masshole Report server.
No problem. It only takes a few strokes of the laptop.
So, Matt, what shift do you work? Did you say you work second shift?
Well, I'm working mornings, but our shifts are 5 to 5, so you got to get up, and because of where I live, I get up at 3:30 in the morning normally, so I can get to work at about. I got to get there about 4:50, but I like to get there a little bit early. So
Yeah.
it's not fun waking up that early.
No, I guess not.
So
Once you
How
get
many
your,
days a week?
Hmm?
How many days do you have to do that? 4 or 5 days?
so the way our schedule works is we
Oh, I
work.
think you told me.
Yeah, it's you get every other weekend off, but
Yeah.
when you work a weekend, you work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
You get to work
what
a lot
is
of
this,
overtime?
Pat? Or I mean, what is this, Diver, that you sent me? Civil Rights Unite.
that's the invite to the server.
Well, no. What is the server though? Like, what's their?
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of my work there. In fact, most of the channels there are channels that I've created. It's not my server. I've just been given the ability to create all that. It's where I started out building the library, and then I mentioned it to the owner of Fan Club, and he said sure, and he made up a bunch of stuff for me, and I've been negligent there, unfortunately. I've been busy doing other things, and I've got to get back to got to get him to give me the permission to be able to create channels there in Fan Club, uh, or sub pages, as it were, so that I can match it up to what I have at CRUD. Yeah, it's CRUD can be a bit of a cacophony if you get into the voice of the chats. It's not for the weak at heart. That's for damn sure. But it's where I started, and I've been defending it. You will notice that no one has permission to post anything there, mainly because I was raided once too often, and every channel I had created, I had to go into every channel, limit it to no one can post, and then go back in and police it up, as if you will.
I mean, as long as the everything's kosher in here, you know, this then I you know.
Well, it's a library where people can go and find out the truth, what the statutes are, what the government has written down, and what, in many cases, well, not exactly consequences, because that's up to the judge. But yeah, I've got trespassing, and I've got, I think, disorderly from all 50 states and what I could find of the territories.
Yeah, I'm looking at your stop and ID right now.
Oh yeah, that's one of the specialty channels. I just opened up SCOTUS too. I changed that recently.
You even got Canadian laws up there. I see Canada friends.
Oh, we've got a lot of Canadians that are involved in this genre, at least on Discord and YouTube. Oh, hell,
Yeah.
they're just over the border. Yo no habla español, or I'd have a thing on Mexico too.
I can speak some Spanish, so
That's about all I can do. Tell somebody in Spanish that I don't speak their language.
well. The one thing that's interesting. I mean, I think this is interesting. I'll have to come through here and look because there's probably a lot of good stuff in here. Because I mean, it's always good to like, especially with the Supreme Court stuff, to review and look at cases and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've tried. Somebody told me once I don't know the difference between a ruling and a decision and dicta. And I'm looking nowadays, I've taken that to heart, and I've looked at, I use Google Scholar a lot, and one of the pages they have that's available for you when you pull up one of the cases is cited. It tells you the different jurisdictions that have cited these cases to decide their own. And I'm thinking to myself, if other jurisdictions cite something from a decision of SCOTUS or any other court, I don't think it's dicta anymore. That
No,
is, if
I
you must understand what dicta is.
Well, no, I actually don't. I was about to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's a legal term for remarks in a case that really don't make precedent. At least that's my understanding of it.
So would that be like, for example, dissenting opinions, stuff like that?
Yeah, basically. And yet, what's interesting is I have seen other cases, both at all levels, that cite dissensions.
That's interesting. So do they cite the dissension as the reason for making a certain decision, or is that what you're saying?
Well, sometimes they cite it to show an opposing view to justify their view, at least from what I've seen. And other times it's to bolster their decision. I mean, when you have a dissenting view of a Supreme Court justice, it isn't just sour grapes.
Very true.
Especially when it comes down to a 5-4 decision. Yeah.
Well, I know one, Justice Alito, he had some great dissenting opinions on rulings. And there are also other judges that have lots of valuable dissenting opinions as well too. But
yeah, and I've seen where the Supreme Court has changed its mind here and there, but it's nothing earth-shattering. That's the thing. I mean, all this talk about overruling Roe versus Wade, well, that ain't happened yet. Hell, they wouldn't even rule on qualified immunity recently.
I'm glad they didn't.
Right.
Yeah, well, are you aware of the two bills that are before Congress?
I know that several factions, especially within the Democratic Party, want to get rid of qualified immunity, but there are also libertarians that don't want it either. So,
well, there's one in each house right now. They were written within the last 2 months, I believe. One wants to repeal it completely, and the other wants to reform it. I'll leave it up to you to guess which one's where.
well, I just don't understand because, again, the job that I do is a very high liability job. And obviously, if I violate somebody's civil rights, I should be able to be sued for that. But I don't need to be getting frivolous lawsuits here and there for stupid things, if I'm acting in good faith.
Exactly. we live in a litigious society, unfortunately. We have few too many lawyers and few too many dishonest lawyers, unfortunately, because
Mm-hmm.
not everyone in every field is perfectly honest. We've got to realize that because we do live in a human society and humans are fallible. I don't care what anybody else says. But the interesting part about qualified immunity is over the years, it has been abused, at least in my opinion. Hey, Pat, you're playing with it, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I've got a neighbor who, if you did that to him once too often, he definitely shut the screen off because he can't handle the motion of a camera. Now, I was trying to show him some of my underwater videos one time, and he he says, "You're not bad with it, but when I tried to show him what my wife did with my camera, videotaping a soccer game, he just couldn't handle it. She doesn't know how to hold a camera, unfortunately. Well, I learned the technique from a professional photographer. If you don't have a monopod or a tripod, you hold your elbows in against your chest and hold the camera to your face and just stand still. And believe it or not, it works. I recorded almost well, let me see, pretty much all but one of my daughter's soccer games before she had to quit. And yeah, all the teams appreciated it. And the cute part is, I don't know if you know anything about soccer, I did it from the team side of the field, not the parents' side.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's because unlike auditors, who would just say, "Well, it's public, or I'm allowed to film anywhere I want." The soccer rules are parents on one side, teams on the other, and if a parent violates that without permission, the team forfeits the game.
Huh.
So first thing I do is I go to the other coach because, of course, my daughter's coach knows me. I introduce myself and I ask permission to film from the center line in the on the team side of the field, and I also go to the head referee and let him know that that's what I'm there for. And I offer the film, the finished product on a CD, to to both teams.
See, I just don't understand why that's so hard for these auditors to do. Is to
Well,
be decent human
that's the
beings.
catch. They don't. Well, not all of them. There are a choice few who actually do ask permission. Desert Sentinel's one of them. He's done it many times and had never had a problem. But then again, you get people like you were discussing earlier that just don't get it. And that's why those people have rap sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very true.
I don't have a rap sheet. I've been on this planet almost 65 years. I've been in many police departments. I've been in a couple of jail cells. I've worked in amongst jail cells, in behind them, in one case almost underneath them. But yeah, I worked in telecommunications.
Okay.
But the thing is, yes, there are police reports about me, but all of them are either because my work vehicle was broken into or stolen from, or they were security checks on me. In fact, I've had the FBI do a security check on me. Yeah, fascinating, isn't it? Some of these, I'm just saying that for the audience. But yeah, I was in the U.S. Air Force, and yes, I had a security clearance. And yes, they investigate you.
Yep.
In my case, they went to a police lieutenant's office because they had more than one person to talk about. And it just didn't click that the name of the one airman that they were talking about and the name on the lieutenant's desk was exactly the same.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, nothing stranger than reality. And yes, the police lieutenant was my father.
Well,
And it was quite funny because the FBI agent even noticed the diploma on the wall at my father's office from the FBI National Academy. Yeah, every year each state sends certain police officers to the academy. I don't know if they still do it. This is back in 1972 when my father went. And yeah, you had to be a pretty upstanding officer in order to get nominated.
one of my instructors, now he's a bit older, but I don't remember when he went, but he went to the FBI National Academy. He's got a thing from them, so
Yeah, Quantico, Virginia. I have a book in my office. It's about an inch and a half thick with all the names of, when it was published, all the names of the officers that had attended from other than FBI agents. And yeah, my father's name's in there. Class of 72. We even went down and visited with him at his graduation. I got to see Hogan's Alley. You know what that is?
no, I'm not. I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly what it is.
Do you remember the movie Dirty Harry?
Yes,
Yeah, and what he walked through training wise?
yeah, I'm trying to remember back to the movie. It's been a long time since I watched it.
Yeah, well, he would walk down like a street and things would pop out at him. Oh, this was the predecessor of that. This was you walk down what would have been a street, but it's quite a ways away from you, and you are actually firing live rounds. That's why it's a little bit away from you. And yeah, things pop out, and you have to make a split-second decision whether it's a perp or whether it's an innocent.
It's like a shoot house, kind of stuff. I've never. The closest thing I've done to that, I've done some simulation training, where you have to do something similar with like scenarios and different things, but I haven't actually done like an actual shoot house with live ammunition.
Yeah, it gets expensive nowadays. That's why they don't do it much anymore. But yeah, it was interesting to watch. I also got to see a few Tommy guns, as they call them, with tracers. Now that was wild. That was, purely demonstration. That's the FBI showing off.
Did they not, when you were in basic training for the Air Force, did they not shoot tracers over your head?
Hell no. That was Air
That's-
Force, man.
That's just an Army thing, I guess, and a Marines thing.
Oh, absolutely. Combat. Yeah, the closest I got to combat was being in a combat communication squadron. That's the closest they would allow me to get to the front line. And believe me, it would be at least 50 miles back. Although we did have those little boxes on top of the bays in each of our trailers. You ever heard of thermite?
I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they weren't
Supposedly-
loaded. Well, yeah, they weren't loaded because we never did take any of our equipment out on the. Well, of the 4 years I was in, we did summer camp once. I was the first year I missed it because they had already done it, so I had to do it Monday to Friday. Luckily, I hadn't gone back to work yet, so I got rid of that first. But then the following year, they offered to send me to Germany for my 2 weeks. And I said, sure, I'll go. I've never been across the ocean. And I went and got all my shots, got everything ready. My unit did its summer camp up in Watertown, New York, Camp Drum, and come around to when I'm supposed to leave. Oh, sorry, we don't have the money. You have to do it Monday to Friday. I lost 11 days' pay. And sucker that I was, the following year they said, oh, you want to go to Sweden for your summer camp? Same scenario. Yeah, so I lost 8 days of pay over 2 years because my company would only pay me for 11 days. 4 of those 14 days would be, I'm sorry, 10, yeah, what am I saying? 10 days pay, they would pay me, Monday to Friday. Because 4 of the days would be over weekends that I wouldn't be working normally. But it was an interesting work. Every step I took in the Air National Guard, I got closer to the front line.
Well,
Actually, the 50-mile bit, that was the tactical air control squadron I was in. That was 50 miles back. And the next closest thing was the combat communications squadron, who would be receiving the radio signals from the guy that was directing where the bombs would be dropped. But I definitely wasn't the guy out there with a radio telling them where to drop the bombs. Although that would be a guess, because back then we didn't have lasers.
I think I can end this, guys. It's been a little over an hour.
yeah, that's fine. I gotta get
Man,
to bed here in a little bit.
You know,
You got to get up to the Shiva level where he goes
It's rookie
33
numbers.
hours.
yeah, maybe I'll come back on tomorrow night or something.
Yeah, well, you're done. Somebody else, I'm sure, is up, and
Paulie's up. You ever go down Paulie's panel?
Yeah, no. There are panels, and then there are.
Shit shows.
Well, no, I've been on shit shows. I've been on the panels that's the name of the show.
Right.
They were very civilized and very comical, actually. We always have a good time. That's the Shiva group. But yeah, he's over in England, and he's got a couple of friends over there. And well, heck, that's the beauty of the internet. We can talk to all over the world. And I mean, just